Well, hello, everybody. It's me, Gordon Firemark, the podcast lawyer, and it has been some time since I've done one of these Podcast Lawyer Speaks Live. Today's going to be a little shorter format. I think I'm only going to do one of the questions that I've got going right now, and a little announcement as well. And that's that. So let me get to it here. So. Yeah, it's been a while. I've just been sort of regrouping, and that leads to the announcement. I'll give the announcement first. I have decided that I'm going to start doing this show as a podcast. I'm going to call it the Legit Podcast Pro podcast. It'll mostly be the same kind of Q&A, although I'm going to have some lesson episodes, I guess you could call it, where I'll just be informing about a particular area of the law and so on. So I haven't exactly figured out everything I'm going to do, but I'm excited about what the opportunity presents, and looking forward to it. So I've been sort of getting myself organized, getting the ducks in a row, that kind of thing. And it should be launching probably right around December 1st, and we'll go from there. So the question, or not, it's not even really a question exactly. It's a statement, a comment that someone made in one of the forums on Facebook or somewhere. It says that the current number 3 podcast in the UK on Spotify is the RSK podcast, and Pod News reveals that hosted on Podbean, it consists of 50 pirated episodes of Ricky Gervais, I guess he says, podcasts from 2005 to 2013, from a user who, quote, just made this as I wanted a way to listen to these myself on Spotify. Some of the episodes have been downloaded as many as 150,000 times. And if you search for Ricky Gervais on Spotify, you will see this, as well as another pirated copy of his XFM shows. Now, the commentary on this was really sort of all over the map. But the point that I wanted to bring out is that this is an example of a situation where either the copyright owner doesn't care, or Spotify doesn't care and hasn't done anything about this. But technically, it's copyright infringement. Unless it's Ricky Gervais himself or the owners, producers of that original show, this person who's made these episodes does not have the legal right to do so. And it is an infringement of copyright. That said, if nobody cares, nobody complains, then that's what happens. But that's a big risk to take. And with 150,000 downloads of certain episodes or more, this stands to be a big deal if it ever does rise to the level of a lawsuit or dispute or just a takedown. And strikes me that if the owners of that show, from whatever it is, XM, wanted to file their DMCA takedown notice, it would be gone in the blink of an eye. And that's the way the copyright law is supposed to work. So, I don't even know why I decided to come on and talk about this today. It was one of these things that I saw a few days ago, and I thought, gosh, these people are just flouting the copyright law. So it is what it is, in any event. Another another situation came up. Again, it was a question about a different topic that came up in one of the groups. But the guy was saying, look, I run a science fiction horror audio drama podcast where I turn short stories into little audio dramas. But thinking now about inviting the authors of those stories to talk about the stories, as well as what drew them to write the stories they do, and what for them is the most profound thing about the genre, and so on. These would be sort of bonus episodes, he says. But it raised the question for me is, does he get the permission from the authors of those stories to even do the adaptation as an audio drama? It may be very flattering to some authors, but to others, it may be, hey, you're ripping off my stuff. Copyright infringement. I'm seeing more and more of this as more people are coming into the podcast space, and they have these great ideas and creative thoughts about how to, to make interesting, entertaining content. A lot of times they're doing it on the backs of the people who created the underlying content first. And not knowing and understanding the rules, the copyright law, the trademark law, the basics of all this stuff can be potentially very, very risky. And so that is why I am going to be doing what I'm doing with the Legit Podcast Pro podcast that's launching very soon. I'll be making more announcements here about that very soon. But anyway, that's sort of all I had to say and to talk about today. The field of podcast law is a growing one, and I'm sort of excited to be sharing about it, and we'll be continuing the conversation more. Now, if you have any questions for me, if you'd like to hear my take as the podcast lawyer on some of these things, please don't hesitate to drop me a note. You can DM me, you can email me, you can post a comment on the this video feed, and we'll go from there. But that's it for today. Thanks for watching. This has been the Podcast Lawyer Live, and I'll see you again very, very soon.